start this.
We just are. Hey, everybody. This is the first episode of Bring On the Geekdom. I am your host, Henry Galliett, and here we are finally. It took a lot of trials and tribulations, but we're finally here, guys. We made it here. So, I'm going to introduce my panel here. We got Movie Man and Mike. You guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit?
Go first, movie man.
Okay. Uh, I'm Movie Man, guys. I'm new to this podcast as well, and it's nice to be here. And I'm really looking forward to doing this. I think this could be a fun thing to do. And yeah.
Mike, your turn.
So, basically, kind of whole new to the podcast thing. Appreciate the invite, and looking forward to having some good conversation and just generally exploring the world of nerddom.
Absolutely, Mike. All right, so with that out of the way, so the show's going to be split up into 3 topics today. So we're going to have the news stuff, reviews, and the question of the day. And so we're just going to get right into the new stuff. So the first topic we're going to be talking about is the Apple TV streaming service. So yeah, that was announced like this week. A lot of big name directors were kind of like attached to it, including Spielberg. So we got J.J. Abrams, Jason Momoa, Reese Witherspoon, and several others. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that for the first topic on We're Gonna Geekdom?
My only concern is there's so many streaming services coming out now. It's before long, how much is everybody gonna have to pay every month to get each one of these streaming services? You know, Disney's coming out with theirs, Apple's coming out with theirs. Everybody still has Netflix, Hulu. You know, before long, all these streaming services are going to be more than your cable bill ever was.
Yeah, that is a big problem. So yeah, I'm of two worlds of this. Like, I feel like this is like I'm excited for the content, but I feel like this is gonna like start adding up. Like, I only just have Netflix now. I have no interest in Hulu. I do not care about the Warner Brothers streaming service that's coming, but I'll probably get the Disney streaming service. But I'm just gonna limit myself to 3. But yeah, at some point, like people are gonna probably bundle this up, and it's gonna probably be like twice as much, if not more, to get like all the streaming services than it is for cable. You just might as well get cable for it. So, Movie Man, do you got any top thoughts on this?
Well, I don't have too many thoughts because I agree. I think too many streaming services are starting to become too much of a thing these days. I mean, I like streaming things online, but I think you're right. I think it's going to cost more money in a few years. Like the Disney thing, who knows how much that's going to be? Who knows how much this is? And we have all these other streaming services now. I'm interested, I suppose, but I need to see what it's like first before I make a judgment.
Yeah, I get you. One more thing I kind of wanted to mention. Spielberg is actually on this list of directors there, and it wasn't like until a couple of months ago that he was like bashing Netflix's being in the Oscars. So I feel like this is kind of a strange move that he's like being in one of these freaking streaming services. To me, it's kind of very hypocritical for me personally, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
I agree. And then I was reading an article earlier on the Apple TV, and there were suggestions since they haven't released what their pricing scheme is going to be, and their content seems to be, it's only going to be, everybody's only going to be interested in probably 1 or 2 shows at any one given time.
Yeah.
I can't see an audience that's going to want everything that they're going to offer at once. So somebody was saying that they may be free or fairly cheap for the first few months while they build their audience and build their shows,
Yeah.
which I think would be interesting. But at the same time, it's going to have the Apple name. So I wonder if that's going to come with the price too, just because it has Apple on it.
Probably. There was also this other thing that they were saying that they were going to make this app where you could sort of like access all your streaming services onto like one platform, I believe. Like, I believe like if like you have Apple TV or Disney Plus, so if you got the Apple TV like download thing, you could also like bundle that up so you could sort of have like all your streaming services in the same place, which I think is pretty cool. But then again, Apple can be kind of douchey with that as well. So I'm kind of skeptic on that. So anyway, I think we're going to move on to the next topic here. So the next topic on here is the let me get it here. Zack Snyder's comments a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago at this panel thing about Batman and the Avengers movies. So, it's just same, Hollywood types, the elitist saying, oh, superhero movies are ruining cinema, which I can understand where they're coming from. But at the same time, man, I'm just getting, and this goes beyond like movies. Like I'm getting kind of tired of like these celebrities lecturing me on what I can and can't watch, man. Because look, man, I do love superhero movies, but I also watch independent films as well. And in fact, the two movies I'm going to be reviewing today are both independent films. So it's not like I'm like ignoring these other films, but it's just like, come on, guys, can we just let people enjoy the big dumb spectacle movies? I mean, I get what they're coming from, but come on, just let people have their fun, right? Your thoughts?
Well, I get what they personally mean by the comic book movie genre being oversaturated, because it
Yeah.
is. I mean, we've had so many at this point, it's ridiculous. But at the same time, yeah, you're right. I don't particularly agree. It's like as you do have other movies out there. If you don't want to watch a comic book movie, don't go see something else. You don't have to like bitch about it.
Yeah. Mike, what are
And
your thoughts?
that's kind of where I'm at too. I mean, I'll agree there are quite a few comic book movies out there. However, I have to admire Marvel's roadmap for what they did with their Phase One and how every movie ties in to where the DC movies. Sorry, but they just seem kind of like they're trying to play catch up and throwing a bunch of movies together, trying to hurry up and make their own Avengers kind of thing. And I mean, I enjoyed the DC movies, but their whole roadmap just didn't seem as well planned out as the Marvel roadmap. So while there are a ton of Marvel comic book movies out there, I appreciate how they all tie together, how they all continue the one big storyline to get to where we're going with Endgame. So I can really appreciate the planning that went into that roadmap. It's not like they just hobbled a bunch of movies together just to make a movie, just to make a superhero movie, which is what Dawn of Justice felt like to me. The only DC movie I felt that was really strong that stood alone was Wonder Woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do agree with that. And also like you can also feel like Zack Snyder's comments, I mean, are coming from a bit of bitterness because like a lot of people kind of shitted on his like movie like 3 years ago. And it like kind of like shocks me that we're still freaking talking about like the freaking Snyder cut. Like, dude, like the movie came out like 2 years ago. Can we just get over it? Like, we're getting a new Batman and Suicide Squad for God's sakes. I mean, like the Snyderverse is done. Like it's been forgotten. Like, let's just put it to rest and move on, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what his comments felt like to me too. Just coming out of bitterness, he can't let it go that his movie didn't do as well as the Avengers. He thought he was going to make another Avengers movie, and it just didn't. It just didn't pan out, and he just seemed like he was coming from a place of bitterness.
Yeah. I just, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just getting tired of. I mean, this goes beyond the movies. It's just like I'm just getting tired of these like celebrities telling me what I can and can't watch or think. It just kind of like boggles the mind, right? But anyway, whatever. So moving on here. So we're gonna talk about the casting of Christopher Nolan's new movie here, which has no name, but it's got its first two leads cast: Robert Pattinson from Twilight and the main lead from Black Klansman, which is I can't even see here his name here. I gotta get it there. Here, I'm sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. Sorry for the wait here, guys. I totally apologize for that. It's Denzel Washington's son. Yeah, it's him. So, oh, it's John David Washington. So yeah, it's Denzel Washington's son. So yeah, I think these two guys are really great actors. I know like Robert Pattinson has like a lot of stigma from the Twilight Zone, but I think he's a really good actor outside of that. So I'm looking forward to this. Again, I have no idea what this movie is going to be about, but I can't wait to see it like come July 2020. So what are you guys' thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was no fan of the Twilight series, but I do agree that he is a very good actor. So I'm looking forward to seeing him, break out of that stereotype of the sparkling vampire and see what else he can do.
Yeah.
Hopefully, be able to get a new reputation to go with him.
Yeah. Also, Emily Dickinson from Guardians of the Galaxy and Man from Uncle has also been cast in the role. So that's pretty cool, though. I thought she was fine in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But yeah, I think I think she'll be pretty good in it as well. So yeah, I'm excited for it. So Movie Man, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm interested in this movie. Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite filmmakers. You know, I love the Dark Knight trilogy, and Inception is a great movie. I mean, I love that movie. I can see where Doctor Strange got its inspiration from. And he's made a bunch of other amazing films. So naturally, I'm very interested to see his next film. And I do think Robert Pattinson has got acting chops. I'll give you that. He was really good in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, but it was just the Twilight Saga that kind of what's that term? There's a word for it. Kind of made his career go downhill. That's it.
Yeah, I actually forgot he was actually in those Harry Potter movies. He was like in the fourth one, right? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's the guy who gets killed by Voldemort in the grave you've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he was pretty good in those too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And hey, we're talking about original movie that we're excited about, huh? I know, right?
Yeah.
Mind blowing, right?
No, yeah.
I know, right? Anyway, speaking of original films, we got another project that's in development right now. It's with Michael Jordan and Jordan Vogt Robert, who is the director of Kong Skull Island, which I thought was really good, are teaming up for a new monster film. It's going to be an original monster film. So yeah, I think this is pretty good actually, in my opinion, because I think Kong Skull Island very much proved that indie talent can really rock the blockbuster world in a lot of way. And I thought it was a great film, and I'm looking forward to this. And Michael B. Jordan is on a hot streak. Like, he's done Black Panther, Creed, and this little film that I know a lot of people didn't like, but I thought he was pretty good in it. It's Fahrenheit 421, I believe. It was a good movie. Like, he was great in it. It started the guy that played Sod in Man of Steel, Michael Shannon. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. So what are your guys' thoughts?
I personally, I love a good monster movie, so I'm excited about it. It's the Godzilla movies kind of didn't quite live up to my expectations, and then the Cloverfield series was kind of interesting, but still, I don't know. I just always love a good monster movie, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. The Cloverfield 10 lane was kind of stretching it for me, and Cloverfield Paradox I thought was just awful. Like,
Yeah.
there's a reason why it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Movie Man, want to chime in?
Well, I'm with you guys. I love a good monster movie as well. I liked the Godzilla movie from 2014. There was just a couple problems with it. Kong Skull Island was pretty cool. I'm pretty excited for Godzilla King of the Monsters, all those awesome monsters fighting on screen. And I think that you've got a good cast here. Michael B. Jordan, and you have the director of Jordan Roberts. And yeah, he also did the movies Fruitvale Station and the other movie Josh Trank made, not Fan Forstic.
Oh yeah, Chronicle, right? With Dane DeHaan.
Right.
Yeah. That was really good. I have no idea what happened to Josh Trank. Like, is he like on another film? Like, I thought he was doing like a gangster mom film, but I guess he's off that now because of Fantastic Four, which is a shame. It just kind of shows you how the Hollywood system can kind of like chew you up and spit you out, and you're kind of not the same person afterwards. But yeah, that is a shame. So yeah, I think we've covered everything on that topic. On to the final three here. So that Star Wars Episode 9 promo art, it was pretty good. So it was leaked from this site, Making Star Wars, which, it's a Star Wars fan site. I mean, you can kind of tell from the title. But yeah, I love the poster. I absolutely adore this new trilogy. I know I'm a Disney shill, but screw it. It's my opinion. I actually really did enjoy The Last Jedi. Like, very much so. Like, I thought that even though like all of the parts of it didn't really work, I still came out thinking about the legacy of Star Wars in a different light. And The Force Awakens, it's a great movie. Like, that, if you wanted to like rewatch a franchise, go to The Force Awakens. I think that really relaunched this franchise into a whole new light and kind of sparked the thirst for Star Wars again. So, what is your guys' thoughts on the promo art, which I thought was pretty good as well?
No,
Hello.
I thought the promo art was really good. I'm honestly, I'm trying to avoid as much hype as I can about episode 9 because I don't want the toxic fans to ruin it for me before I go see it. Because, like you, I actually did enjoy The Force Awakens and I enjoyed The Last Jedi. I didn't think they were nearly as horrible as so many people say they were. I can see what they were doing with The Force Awakens. They had to bridge a gap of a 30-year generational gap and bring in a whole new set of fans. There's a whole new generation that's got to grow up with Star Wars now, and my generation's kind of dying out, you know. So we're the old guys from the original trilogy, and everybody wants to relive their childhood, and they expected The Force Awakens to do that, and it's like, no, this is for a new generation. You know, it's I could see how they used it to bridge the gap, especially since The Force Awakens just almost seems like a Cliff Notes version of the original three trilogies. So I can see what they did, and I actually enjoyed both movies, and I'm looking forward to Episode 9. And it's just the toxic fans that seem to be ruining the franchise right now.
Yeah. I will agree with that, like in a lot of senses. And look, I'm of the 2 cents. Look, man, if you're a Star Wars fan as an adult, that's great, but you just gotta like say, hey, man, these franchises are for everybody. So that doesn't mean they're just for us; they're for everybody. That's why everybody loves these things so goddamn much, because like they appeal to everybody. Me, you, my nieces, my 12-year-old nieces here and there. Like seriously, I love these films, and and I feel like we're also like very entitled these days. And I'm gonna get more into this like in the spoiler review about this movie I saw that was just awful. But yeah, it really kind of screams of how spoiled we are, like as a society, that we are like, if it's not my way, it's the highway. And I think that's like a truly awful mistake. So again, if you like this stuff as an adult, cool, but just acknowledge, hey, everybody likes it and everybody's looking for different things in Star Wars, and it's not just our opinions that matters, it's everybody's, right? So yeah, that's
Exactly.
my 2 cents on it. So movie man, do you got anything to put onto it?
Personally, I'm with you guys. This is a very unpopular opinion. I get it. But personally, I loved The Force Awakens and I loved The Last Jedi. Even
There
though
you
The Last
go.
Jedi had problems, I loved The Last Jedi. And I think and Rian Johnson is becoming one of my favorite filmmakers. And I'm interested to see what he does with his next movie, not Knives Out, later this year.
Oh
And I
yeah,
think
that's coming out.
episode 8 had some of the best acting in the whole saga, from like Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver and Mark Hamill, if you'll, amongst others, and the cinematography was great. And I'm honestly really hyped for episode 9 because J.J. Abrams is one of my favorite filmmakers, and the poster looked really good. And honestly, right next to Avengers Endgame, Star Wars Episode 9 is like my most anticipated film this year.
Yeah, I will agree with that. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement here that I think episode 8's pretty underrated. I think Star Wars does have a pretty bright future ahead of it. I mean, it's Disney, so it's gonna go on whether we like it or not, because they are Disney.
Well,
They
that was
crank out magic. Yep, sorry about that,
my
Mike.
favorite Yeah, my favorite thing about the new trilogies too was how much more of the Force they explored. You know, so in Episode 8, you had the Force projection. You know, you get to see all these powers that you've always hear about in the RPGs and the extra, you know, the comic books and stuff. You see it, but you hadn't seen it in the movies yet. So I thought that was a really good tie-in to show how much broader the Force is. When Luke, you know, when they did the Force projection of themselves, when Kylo and Rey were having the discussion back and forth, I just thought that was a really cool aspect to how they broadened the Force so much more than just lifting rocks.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty good. Oh, sorry.
I have to agree with that because I think J.J. Abrams did a great job of bridging the gap. Okay, this is mostly a rehash of A New Hope, but it's still a good movie, and it's like this is a good way to get the audiences back into Star Wars. And then I love how Rian Johnson dares to take the sequel and take it in a new direction we don't think it's going. Like we think it's going to happen this way, and then he completely subverts expectations to go this way. And I really liked the way he did it, and I especially love the way Luke fights Kylo Ren at the end because I really don't think Luke would be able to physically fight him like that. I mean, he's an old man now. I really doubt he'd be able to hold his own against a younger guy. but the way he did it, where he's distracting him so the rebels escape, I thought was brilliant. Oh, and I love his send off when he disappears into the Force under the sun, just like in A New Hope when you
Yep.
first meet him under the sun. I'm like, Johnson, that was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to episode 9, and I hope Ryan Johnson like gets out of this like, oh, he ruined Star Wars. No, he didn't. Like, if anything, I think he kind of saved Star Wars because as much as I like Force Awakens, Rogue One, and even Han Solo, like they didn't like reinvent the wheel. Like they're kind of like jogging in place like the X-Men films for the past couple of years. And I feel like The Last Jedi sort of like subverted expectations. And overall, I think it was like a really good experience. So anyway, I think we said everything about Star Wars. So we're gonna go on to the final two here, and the second to last topic we're gonna be doing is the Avengers Endgame runtime. So it's gonna be about 3 hours and 2 minutes, which is like a crazy amount of time for a movie. Like I know like I love Marvel films, but like I feel like 3 hours and 2 minutes is kind of stretching it. Like I remember like a couple years back when I like went to go see The Last Night, like it felt like 4 hours, and that movie was like 2 hours and 45 minutes. So it's just like, oh, again, I'm looking forward to the movie, but the runtime sort of somewhat worries me. But I could be proven wrong. Like the time may go by quickly. I don't know. But what are your guys' thoughts?
Well, personally, I don't mind the 3 hour thing because I think 3 hours could work if it works. Like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, one of the greatest trilogies ever made, and I always watch the extended cuts all the time, and it's the best 3 hours I've ever had. And I know this is an unpopular opinion, but personally, I love Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and I think, and that's a 3 hour movie too, and I really like that cut as well. So I think it can work for Avengers Endgame as well. As well, the Russos seem like they know what they're doing. They're great filmmakers, and I just think they're going to make an awesome film.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the 3 hour runtime doesn't concern me at all because they've got a very complicated storyline to wrap up and to resolve a lot of the issues post the snap, and that's I feel to compare it again to Star Wars, like the Clone Wars, I felt that easily could have been a longer movie because I felt like they rushed through the whole Clone War aspect of that movie, and that's what I was afraid they were going to do with Avengers. So to have the 3 hour runtime, I think is going to be good as long as they can fill it with quality story the entire time, which I have no doubt they will. And I think it'll give a plenty of opportunity to actually wrap the story up nicely, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I think the 3 hours are going to fly by.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys make some really excellent points. So yeah, I think it will be a very good movie. Yeah. It's kind of crazy that like this is like everybody's talking about the Avengers films. Like a few years back, like people who like comic books were like shunned, but now it's like everywhere, and it's kind of strange in a good way. So yeah, I'm really happy that this film is gonna like have a great conclusion. Doesn't mean it's the end of the MCU, but it's gonna give a great send off to these characters. All right. So anybody else
Oh,
have
it's
more
just
thoughts on?
the
Oh
it's
yeah.
just the end of phase one, right? Because
Uh,
there's still phase
um,
two and phase three. So
yeah. It's like I think it's like the end of an era, honestly, and the beginning of
yeah,
another. So
yeah, for
anyway,
sure.
yeah. So we're gonna go on to our final topic here, which is that Mark Hamill is voicing the Chucky in the new Child's Play reboot. And I've never actually I've only watched like two Child's Plays movies, and they were kind of like hard to get through. So yeah, I'll probably see this one on DVD. I probably won't go to the theater because my like summer like film list is like so like over cramped with like originals, blockbusters. Like I gotta like sacrifice a couple ones, and I have no problem sacrificing this one to not go see until DVD. So yeah. So what are your guys' thoughts?
I agree. I've never really been a huge horror movie fan or slasher flick fan, anything like that. But like you, I'll wait for DVD or Blu-ray to see it because I do love Mark Hamill's voice acting abilities and stuff. So I look forward to see what he could bring to the character. I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I thought his Joker work was pretty good. Like I've seen like a couple of animated films of his. I think he does a great job of that. I think he's a better voice actor than he is an actor, unfortunately. But hey, everybody's got their talents. You know what I mean? It's
Oh
what you
yeah.
bring to Hollywood, right? So maybe man, do you got any thoughts?
Absolutely. Like at first with this movie, I'm honestly a little concerned about this movie because I'm personally a big horror slash slasher fan, and the Chucky movies, I love those movies. Well, some of them. The first two I really liked. The third was okay. Four and five suck. Six and seven, they're pretty good. But Brad Dourif was always the awesome Chucky. Like I love his laugh, his voice, everything. And when I saw, oh, you've got Mark Hamill to do this, I'm interested because I think he's a very good voice actor, and I love him as the Joker and Batman the animated series and the Arkham games. I swear, I hear that laugh in my head now, and I'm just imagining. Imagine what he sounds like when he laughs like Chucky or talks like him. So on. So he's got my attention as Chucky. I'm like, wow, Mark Hamill of all people. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Um, yeah, absolutely. And the best thing about Hollywood is that if this one doesn't work, there's probably going to be another version of it in 2 to 3 years. And if you don't
Yeah.
believe me, just look at Terminator. They got
Yeah.
a sixth movie coming out. Hooray, I guess. So yeah. Anyway, I think we're all in agreement there. So we're gonna go on to the second like part of this show, which is the review section. This is where we go do a roundtable of like movies we've seen this week or past months or weeks, and we talk about movies we've seen. So yeah, I'm gonna go first here. I've actually seen two movies. One of them I thought was okay, and the other one kind of kept me up all night in a bad way. So I'm gonna probably start with the one that that's I'm gonna probably get very. Have you ever guys ever heard of this film? Sorry to bother you, like at all. It was
no.
like this independent film that was like directed by this rapper guy, and I gotta tell you, man, I absolutely hated it. I think this is the message of it, and I'm gonna be very unpopular here. It's kind of destructive. You know what I mean? it it has this message of I mean it's very much like a hate letter to capitalism, and I'm not saying capitalism is a perfect system. It isn't, and it does make some very good points, but the overall message and the themes of it, I found a little bit. I don't know what I thought about it. Like this was a movie that kind of kept me up all night and just made me think about it, and I guess that's the point of it, but it wasn't like a good way. And spoilers, but this movie came out like in July. So like there's this one scene where like the main character goes into the back of this corporation, and like he has all of these like men. I'm not joking. They've created these half horse, half men like entities, and this and it's really like on the nose, and it's just like kind of bangs you over the head with its metaphors, and it's probably supposed to do that, but I just thought it was just kind of like, okay, we get it. You don't like capitalism. And it just kind of took me out of the situation there. And it just kind of like, kind of exemplified like this weird entitlement of millennials, which millennials are going to love this movie. Like, absolutely. Like, they will eat this film up. But to me, I just thought of it as just kind of pretentious and just kind of boring. Again, I can understand why people like it. And hey, good for you if you like it. But for me, it just didn't do it for me. But not to say that there weren't good elements into it. I thought the cinematography, like, it's a $3 million movie, but it feels like a $40 million movie, which is impressive. Like, this director does have a great future ahead of him if he wants to do it, but unfortunately Hollywood is capitalistic, so I'm guessing he probably won't. But I think this guy has a bright future, but I just think his first feature film was just kind of for me. And the other film I did see was this new Netflix film coming out here. And Netflix does do a lot of good original content. Like, they've basically become the Marvel of independent films, if we're being honest here. So it was this film with it's called The Highwaymen. It's this like gangster mob film, and I thought it was really good. Yeah, it was a solid Netflix original film. That's all I'm going to kind of say about it. So, for Sorry to Bother You, I'd give it like a 4.2 out of 10, and Highwaymen 8.2. So, What are your guys' films?
Um, so one of the ones I stumbled across was actually from J.J. Abrams, and it's called Overlord.
Oh yeah.
And I had never heard of it, and had heard some guys at work talking about it, so I went and watched it. And it's basically a World War II movie with with a really good twist about three-quarters of the way through the movie, and I don't want to say anything else more than that because it really, you're really enjoying it as a Private Ryan kind of movie kind of thing, and all of a sudden it's got this twist and it turns it into a completely different genre, and it kind of works. I mean, it's not going to be for everybody, but I really enjoyed it, and I would have to give it, just for sheer unexpectedness, I would have to give it probably a 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
I really had a, it was really a fun movie.
absolutely. Do you got any ones, movie man?
No, unfortunately, I haven't seen any new movies
But did you
this
see
week yet.
Shazam though,
Unless,
right?
huh?
Did you see Shazam though, right?
No, I saw that last week in a
Oh,
private
you
screening.
could do that review for now, actually, if you want to. I actually want to hear your thoughts on it.
All
Shazam.
right. Yeah, all right. I would have to say Shazam really surprised me because I had some expectations for this movie, but not high ones. It was kind of like when I went to Aquaman, I had little to no expectations. And I think because of that, when I saw it, I came out pleasantly surprised by it. I mean, it was directed by David F. Sandberg, and he did a great job with it. After Annabelle creation, I was interested to see how he switched genres to Shazam. And he did a really good job with it. And I think Zachary Levi really nailed the role as a 15-year-old in an adult body by the word Shazam. I mean, it was a really good movie. And I personally think it's the best movie in the whole DC cinematic universe other than Aquaman.
Oh wow.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. Before we go on to the other like last point here, I kind of want to like say something here. Like, I've noticed for the past 4 years that do you notice how like the even years are like all the big blockbuster films, but in the odd years like 2014, 2016, 2018, there's been these like really bizarre like independent like this surge of independent films in those years. Like I've been noticing that. Like it's kind of cool. Like people saying, "Oh, there's not a lot of original films in Hollywood." Well, there is, but you don't go to see them. Like how can you complain about like the reboot of Men in Black if you're gonna go see that over like a film like Overlord or maybe Widows? Like I thought Widows is a good movie, but nobody saw it. Like it's like why are you complaining if about originality if you don't go see the original films? It's like, not saying that you can't go see the big blockbuster films. Like I love blockbuster movies. I love me some Big Macs, but if you want original films, just go and see Widows or Sorry to Bother You, regardless of how I feel about it, or even Overload, right? Like there are original films out there, and hey, I would argue that Netflix has been producing more original content and more accessible original content to more people than the theater. So if you could do this is what I do a lot of the time. Whenever I go see a big blockbuster film, I come back home and I go to Netflix and I go see like a smaller independent film. That's what I do. I kind of like have a balance of both two roads. And this thing about film bans that I hate is that they pick sides here. Is like you have the independent film people here and you got the franchise bands here and they're just like clashing with each other. And that's like, come on, guys. Like these are movies. This isn't politics, right? It just, you know what I mean? Like I just wish people could like just have like both best of both worlds, right? But that's just my opinion. So you know what I mean?
No, I agree. That was one of the things I've enjoyed about Netflix is just the quality of the original programming. At
Yeah.
first, I was skeptical, and then like one of the things I almost reviewed instead of Overlord was The Expanse
Oh
on
yeah,
Netflix.
that was really good.
I freaking loved that series. I hope they keep going with it because I loved the science fiction aspect of it, but it also, a lot of the science fiction was really science based. You know, you see the way the ships interact and everything like that. It was very realistic in the way they did it. So I just loved that whole series.
Yeah,
Actually, I
absolutely.
think that was more on Amazon Prime, wasn't it? Not
Yeah.
Netflix. Whoops.
I have no interest in Amazon Prime. Like I have so many like I'm just waiting for the Apple and Disney streaming services, but after that I'm gonna be like cutting myself off to any more streaming services because like I don't want to spend $2,000 on like entertainment. As much as I love entertainment, I gotta draw a line somewhere. But that's just me. you
Well,
know.
no, that's the same thing I think Apple TV is going to run into because, like the Disney streaming, the only reason I'm going to get it is because of the series The Mandalorian.
Absolutely.
I'm a
Yeah.
Mandalorian merc on the side, so it actually appeals to me. But that's the only reason I'm going to get that streaming service right now is because of that one show. And I think that's the same thing Apple's going to run into is people are only going to be interested in one show. So it's how much are people willing to pay for one show?
Yeah. And they're also like going off it of name brands like Steven Spielberg and J.J. Abrams and some others. But the thing about it is, like, as much as I like Spielberg, like his films as of late haven't really been all that impressive, to be honest. If you like, I kind of liked Ready Player One. Like, I get what it was saying, but it was just very hollow and just kind of like bland in a way.
Yeah,
And like even the post, like I didn't think it was that impressive. Like it was just like a generic like biopic like movie that just like I would probably forget about. Like hell, I kind of forgot about it like a couple of months ago. Like I saw it like back in 2017 and I don't remember a single scene from it. Right? It just like washed over me. And hopefully Spielberg like will get refreshed with this new anthology series of his, but I'm just not really like crossing my fingers. But yeah, anyway.
I
Got
was
any-
glad to see his involvement in Bumblebee. I enjoyed the heck out of that movie.
Yeah. That is funny though, because he does hate blockbusters now for some weird reason. But he's producing blockbusters, so yeah, no like hypocrisy there, right? Anyway, movie man, do
Whatever
you got
pays
any
the
last
bills, I guess.
yeah, whatever pays the bills. Movie man, do you got any last thoughts, man?
Not really.
All right, cool. So we're gonna go on to the final topic here, and I think I'm gonna change this one up here is how to deal with toxic fans, right? Like how do we deal with that? Like I don't know about you, but I'm just getting tired of being embarrassed to be a fan of something. Like every day, like I see like an article or a think piece of how fandoms are ruining society and how like it's ruining geek culture and stuff. And I know you guys, and you guys aren't like douchebags about your fandoms. You're very passionate about it, probably to annoyance, but you're not like a dick about it. And I just feel like, come on, like, can't we all just enjoy things for once and stop like becoming these like entitlement crybabies over stuff that's not really that important? Like, come on, let's have some perspective here, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, and I get everything you're saying there because there's no lie. This happened once. I posted on Facebook that I'm watching The Last Jedi. And I said, "Man, I love this movie." And then literally someone commented on the post like, "Dude, you must be trolling me. You're kidding, right?" I'm like, "No, I'm not kidding. I'm actually serious because I really did like this movie." How do I know you're not the one trolling me because you didn't like this movie? So, and I swear at one point I almost sank to those haters levels because I was hating on The Last Jedi, Batman v Superman for a while, and then rewatching those films, I just realized I can't bring myself to hate these movies because I just don't hate them. I just really like these movies. I cannot sink to their level. I can't. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was
Always
one
good
of
for you.
I
Yep, sorry, man.
was so embarrassed to be a Star Wars fan when the toxic fans did what they did to Rose from The Last Jedi, Kelly Marie Tran. The way they just bullied her into making her, she deleted her Instagram account and got offline and stuff because she was just being hounded by toxic fans. And I'd never been so embarrassed to call myself a Star Wars fan because we were all being compared to those people. And I was just like, really? That's all you people have to do is bully an actress who was just doing her job? I thought she did a great job in the role myself, but
I know,
Yeah.
like they even did the same thing with Jake Lloyd back in the day when he was Anakin. They bullied him
yeah,
on. He hates Star Wars now. He even destroyed all Star Wars merch in his home because he can't stand it anymore.
yeah,
At one point, the guy that plays Jar Jar was thinking about committing suicide because of the death threats he got playing Jar Jar,
yeah.
which I think is ridiculous. Personally, I don't like Jar Jar or Rose, but I'm not going to go and attack the actors. They just did their job. I may not like
Exactly.
their,
Yeah, she,
but the characters are still people.
Yeah. Just like try to learn to like separate art from fiction. And like I know I'm gonna go on a bit of a tangent here, but I think like all of this stuff like just like was accelerated in 2014 when Gamergate happened. Like I have no idea what Gamergate is, but from like a couple people I know, like it wasn't pretty. Like it was this like whole like fighting, and I understand that, like fans can sometimes be like treated unfairly by the media, like, oh, they're just a bunch of band babies just crying about like stuff from their youth. And I can get that fans, but it's like, come on, we're people too, man. We don't want to hurt anybody. We just want to enjoy our stuff. And hey, if you enjoyed too, like, hey, let's all have this like big party together and enjoy, revel in the stuff that we love within moderation, right? And I feel like people have just kind of like forgot about, like reality a little bit, and just sort of like see Star Wars as an actual real thing. Nothing like wrong of like being passionate about Star Wars. You can have like collectibles of Star Wars. I don't care. I know people find that weird, but it really isn't that bad, like in the broader scheme of things. But it come on, like this stuff's supposed to be fun. Let's stop going to war over this shit. Let's go to war for real like issues, right? Like again, I love Star Wars, I love Marvel, but it's not like going to war over it. And especially if Captain Marvel, like I gotta tell you, man, like a couple of months ago, I kind of went down the alt-right hole and I saw so many awful, terrible things. The worst of humanity was shown on the internet. And it made me like not only embarrassed to be a Star Wars fan, but also kind of be embarrassed to be a part of the human race for like a quick like a couple months there. It just was like sad to me. And it just kind of shows you like how much of this culture war has like engulfed people's lives and therefore can't like separate politics, art, or reality from each other. And it's a real shame.
Oh yeah, I think this is another one to add fuel to the fire. Game of Thrones, because the actor that plays Joffrey on the show, he's one of the nicest guys ever, from what I've heard. But his character is an absolute dickhead who we all hate. But and then apparently because of he plays the character who's an evil douche, he got death threats. But like, why would you send him that? I mean, just because his character's evil doesn't mean he is. I mean, I could play an evil character in a movie. Does that make me an evil person?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, separate it. Learn to separate, you morons.
Yeah. It kind of like I don't agree with Bill Maher, but it kind of makes people like want to think Bill Maher was right about Stan Lee, and I don't agree with him at all. But like the way fandom is going, like it kind of makes him seem right in some way. But I'm not a fan of Bill Maher. I think he's wrong about comics and stuff like that. But again, I just wish geek culture could just sort of like maybe mature a little bit, like stop taking this up so seriously to the point like you have to send death threats to people. Like that's ridiculous. Again, you can be passionate about this stuff. We all have hobbies, even if we don't like to admit it. Like I think sports fans and geeks are kind of on the same level. They're just like excited for different things, but they're on like the same level of passion. But I just feel like these guys could, like the toxic fans could just maybe chill the f down a little bit and just acknowledge, hey, this stuff's just entertainment. All right, nothing wrong with being passionate about it, nothing wrong with liking it or enjoying it, but you just gotta like separate art from reality. So yeah, got any more thoughts, Mike, before we wrap up here?
No, I agree. That's the Bill Barr comments really they really pissed me off. I was never really a huge Bill Maher fan, but when he said that about Stan Lee and comic books, I was like, dude, I grew up with comic books. They helped my reading. They actually influenced my drawing. That's where I learned. That's I taught myself to draw by mimicking what I saw in the comic books. So that there was a huge. They were a huge influence on me for more than just pure entertainment, and they weren't just stupid little funny books. They were art teachers to me. They helped me learn to read better. They were so much more than just a bunch of stupid pictures like Bill Maher tried to portray comic books as. So his comments really, really made me lose a lot of respect for him. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't have too much to begin with, but
Yeah. If I'm being honest though, I think like late night talk show hosts have kind of like gone down the drain. Like after Donald Trump got elected as president, everybody just like lost their minds a little bit and just like it just lost their minds. And yeah, I agree with you. And I want to go on a bit of a tangent here. Like the Marvel films like got me into cinema. Like the reason why I love cinema so much is because of the Marvel films. Like those actors like in the films like introduced me to their other works like Robert Downey Jr. as the Judge. Like I didn't think it was that good, but I would have never gone to seen it if I hadn't seen Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. The same with Jeremy Renner. Like I would have never have seen Wind River, or a couple of other movies of his as well, and same with Scarlett Johansson. Like I would have never seen like this other film with Hugh Jackman and like the other guy as well, because like my passion for the MCU has grown beyond just the Marvel films. Like I see their other films as well, and same with Tom Holland. Like I'm excited for Chaos Walking if it ever gets released, or the other film that's coming out after that, Cherry from the Russo brothers. Like my like love for blockbusters has fueled my love for independent as well. So I feel like there's a balance between both, and I think sometimes like people on both sides don't get that, and I wish people would. It's just like, come on, guys, like let's stop fighting each other over this stuff. Movies like these movies aren't ruining cinema for me personally. They're sort of like enhancing it and sort of like saying, hey, like these actors are great in these movies, but you can also check out these other movies of theirs, and I've kind of gotten that. So that's just me. And Bill Maher, I kind of don't really like him as a person anyway. I've heard he's kind of a dick in real life, so
He is. I met
whatever.
him once. I met him at an after party we were at. I got
You
to meet
were?
him, and yeah, he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, I could kind of see that, but everybody in Hollywood's kind of a jerk to some extent. But yeah, you got any final thoughts, movie man?
Yeah, personally, I think this guy is crap because Stan Lee was one of my big influential things in life because his Marvel movies were influential on me. I was into superheroes growing up, and Stan Lee was one of my heroes. He always will be. And the fact that he crapped on Stan Lee literally like not long after he passed away just disgusted me. Like, dude, he literally just died a couple days ago. You couldn't have waited a little longer, but still, I hated the guy for it. So.
Even Stephen Colbert like mourned his loss. Like I don't know, but anyway, it's not worth getting into. Like again, we love all types of films here. We love independence, we love blockbusters, we love all types. We love both. You don't have to choose one, you can choose both. So anyway, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Tune in next Sunday for the next episode. We're pretty good. We'll have a new cast here, and yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining me this time. All right, have a
All
good
right,
one.
Hey,
All
thanks for
right, of
having us.
course,
hey,
man. Have a good one. Bye.
you
Thanks.
too.